63 or visit us online at usaforsale.com.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock, 51 degrees. Thank you for tuning in to WOCA this last Friday of 2016. Here's the funny thing. I'm looking out the window, and I see people dressed like in winter clothing. It's 51 degrees. If you lived in Chicago today, right now it's 27 degrees. Looking ahead throughout the week, it pretty much never goes over 40, and in fact, it even goes down to 10 degrees in some nights. So if you lived in Chicago and it was 51 degrees, you would be wearing like your springtime clothing. But in Ocala, Florida, when it's 51 degrees, you're wearing your winter clothing. Einstein said everything is relative, right? Dr. Ken Redcross is on the phone. He's been with us before. He is a board-certified internal medicine physician, a contributor to some of the big shows like Nancy Grace, The Doctors, Insider, Entertainment Television. He's the founder of Redcross Concierge, and he really knows how to do radio well, which is why I love having him on the air. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Hey, Larry, how are you? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Where are you calling from? Are you in Chicago?
I'm in New York City.
Oh, you're in New York. How's the weather there today?
Not so bad. It's around 40, which is great for us.
Are you going to Times Square tomorrow?
You know, I usually do, but I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. It's supposed to be pretty cold. I'm going to try to stay away from there if possible.
It says here that we want to talk about some viruses. So do we have some new viruses we need to be aware of?
Well, it's not so much new, Larry. It's just that, right now we're in the throes of the flu season, and the flu is definitely the one we want to focus on, but everything that presents like the flu, like, for instance, with the fever, is not necessarily just that. There are some other viruses that, in a way, can mimic the flu, and that they also can present with fever.
So when you tell us that we need to be vigilant, my question is how? How are we vigilant? Are we staying away from Times Square, for example?
Well, close quarters are one way to do it. But it's funny. One of the ways to be vigilant is just to be educated. For instance, influenza affects our economy to the tune of about $87 billion each and every year and results in over 30 million visits to my office and doctors' offices all across the United States. So it's number one, making sure that we take the flu seriously. The second thing is to realize that the flu season, I know it starts primarily in October, but Larry, it extends all the way out till May. And I always talk about that point because by the time we get through the new year, we all kind of let our hair down and think that we're kind of out of the woods, and we're not yet because the flu actually peaks usually around February, so we're not there yet. And then last but not least, there's always some sort of discussion about whether we should get the flu shot or whether it can get you sick and that sort of thing. But it's not only about protecting ourselves from the flu, Larry, but it's also protecting ourselves from the complication of the flu, which is actually pneumonia. So it really starts with understanding how important the flu is for us to really pay attention to.
Do you know, we have a lot of people who work here in the health field, and a lot of the facilities they work in are like nursing homes and assisted living facilities.
Right.
And I've often thought that in that environment, and I worked in one of them for 3 years, when you have a cold or anything going on and you feel, well, it's not that bad, I can handle it, I should go to work, you really should stay home because you're going to give some of these people with weakened immunities exposure to your germ, right, or your virus.
No, you absolutely do, and that's the important thing with really all three viruses that we'll talk about today. When you talk about influenza, for instance, I think we're all familiar with the symptoms, so if you feel like you're going to work and you have the fevers, the chills, and especially the body aches, that's the clue that I let everyone know that we're probably dealing with influenza at that point. The big key, getting into our doctor's office, coming over into my office within the first 48 hours, because if you do that, Larry, we do have a prescription that could be beneficial, but it's difficult for patients to realize that maybe I'm dealing with the flu or the common cold. So at that point, I always talk to patients about a homeopathic ingredient. It's called oscillococcinum. And I love it because it's been shown in studies not only to decrease the severity and the duration of flu-like symptoms, but it has also been shown to result in 60% clear improvement or resolution of symptoms when people take it within the first 48 hours. And it's also wonderful for kids 2 years of age and older. So I love making sure that patients realize if you don't get into my office in that first 48 hours, hope is not lost. There are some things that I like to say are closer to the earth that can actually help us with those flu-like symptoms as well.
And why is oscillococcinum, if I said it right, however...
You did. Kudos.
What makes that homeopathic? What makes it that?
Well, the thing that makes it homeopathic is that it's using the body's own immune system to, in a sense, kind of heal itself or treat its symptoms.
Oh.
Once again, for me, it's all about data, and the fact that they were able to show in data that there was clear improvement with it is something that I'd love to share with patients because, like I said, it's tough sometimes to get into your doctor's office in the first kind of 48-hour window, but at least we know that there are some things that are still out there. I also love vitamin D with this as well. Now, vitamin D has been shown with those who are deficient in vitamin D may be more susceptible to influenza. So it's important that we talk about vitamin D, and in fact, there is a website at thepowerofd.org where you can actually order at-home vitamin D test kits because we're all so busy these days. So vitamin D is a big part of making sure we help ourselves with influenza as well.
Okay, Doctor, move on to the next. You have two more viruses you want to talk about, right?
I do. The first one is the norovirus. The norovirus is a virus that everyone thinks they haven't heard of, but you have because this is the one that shuts down cruise ships and daycare centers.
Okay.
It's the number one cause of gastroenteritis in the United States. The main hallmark, you get vomiting and diarrhea. It's important to keep your hands washed and stay hydrated. Third and last but not least is the Coxsackie virus. Now, the Coxsackie virus first discovered here in my home state of New York, in Coxsackie, New York. And this is the one that causes hand, foot, and mouth disease. You typically see it in children, but I brought it up this time, Larry, because there was a recent outbreak at one of the colleges in Florida that showed that kids were actually getting blistering rash of the hands, the foot, and the mouth, and something that can present with fever as well as the norovirus. So everything that has a fever doesn't have to be influenza.
So you get blisters on your hands, your feet, and in your mouth?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Oh,
I know, and it's
never heard
something
that
to
one.
watch. Yeah, it's something to watch out for. Like I said, typically in kids under the age of 10. But when you have the kids at Florida State University that actually came down with that, it was so important to say, hey, look, guys, there's a new virus out there that we need to think about. I really shouldn't say new, but it's something that's presenting in a different way. And once again, this is all about education here, Larry, because now if you get this rash, it's around your hands or your foot and your mouth, you can say, gosh, doc, maybe I have hand, foot, and mouth disease. The way we treat it is that your body actually treats it. It's self-limited, meaning there's nothing that you have to do. It gets better on its own. But once again, you want to manage that fever. That's the hallmark of disease for the Coxsackie virus.
Okay, so the medicines don't apply in this one.
Not in this one because we're dealing with viruses. That's why when I mentioned oscillococcinum before, trying to help support the immune system with the norovirus, you're washing hands, you're staying hydrated, and the Coxsackie virus, we're managing the fever. These are all things that we use just to help our symptoms until our body eventually fights these things.
Can you talk just for a moment, because we've got a couple of minutes left, unless you have to run, but can you talk for a moment to the person who has leftover antibiotics, and they, you know where I'm going, right? And they're going.
I know where you're going.
And they say to themselves, oh, I'm coming down with something, let me use this. What happens?
Okay, guys. So the key is this. We're talked about 3 viruses here. Viruses do not respond to antibiotics, so don't get mad at your doctor when they say no antibiotics for you. Give them a big hug and kiss and let them know, thank you for not exposing me to potentially drug-resistant bugs, because antibiotics only help bacteria. So viruses have no place for antibiotics because it only causes more problems.
Yeah, that's something I think, I might have been guilty of that too. I have a fortunate position in that I get to talk to you every once in a while. So, I knew that was the answer. I think it came up once before. So the 3 things we wanted to tell the audience about are Coxsackie, I have my notes here, norovirus, and influenza. The one thing I wanted to ask you, because if you're driving, you're never going to remember the word oscillococcinum. I'm looking at it. That's how come I remember it. So is there a website they can remember and look up when they get to a safe place?
Oh, there definitely is. The good thing is you can actually find it at most grocery stores, drugstores. It's so ubiquitous at this point because it really has kind of gotten into the news. And it's also, they have a website. I think it's www.boron.com. But once again, it's pretty easy to find out in just the grocery stores and some of the health food stores at this point.
All right. And what about your own website? Can we get a hold of you anyway?
Sure, please reach out. I love meeting new people. My website is drredcross.com. My Twitter handle is @drredcross, and Facebook is Ken Redcross MD.
Okay. Well, Doctor, thank you for being on the air with us. Have a great New Year's. And if you go down to Times, that's on my bucket list. I want to go to Times Square for New Year's. I grew up there, but I've never been there for New Year's. And
it's the best. It's the best.
You're the first person to tell me that. Almost every New Yorker says stay away from it. But I want to do it just one time. So
exactly, it's worth it.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
Take care. Have a great weekend.
All right, thank you. We will be
Bye-bye.
right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Friday, it'll be windy, cooler, and less humid with clouds giving way to some sunshine. The high 58 to 62. And Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Lows in the mid to upper 30s inland, 44 along the coast. More sun than clouds for Saturday and becoming warmer. High 69 to 73. For Sunday, New Year's Day, partly sunny. High 77 to 81. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Automotive, this is Matt.
Hey, Matt, it's Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Listen, we're going to be doing some traveling, and of course, we're doing a lot of shopping. I make sure the car is in good shape.
Why don't you just bring it on by? Let us check it out. We can check all your belts, your hoses, your tires, all your fluids. In out of town, is that up north in the cold?
Yep.
Okay. Let's check your antifreeze. Also, make sure your washer fluid has got alcohol in it so it doesn't freeze up north, because that makes for a rotten day. And pressure in your tires. Let's look at your brakes. Make sure everything is safe and secure. Go through it and just make sure everything is ready to go on the road. You due for an oil change?
Yep.
Whenever you come in to get your oil change, we always check your belts, your hoses, all your lights. We go through and make sure that everything is working properly. We check all your fluid levels. We do that every time you come in to Sunrise Automotive.
So just call you back at this number?
Yeah, just give me a call back at 690-1993 whenever you're ready to come in. And you can drop it off, leave it with us, whatever's most convenient for you. Look forward to seeing you at Sunrise Automotive.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
So if there's a rift, a disagreement, a falling out between you and a friend, a coworker, or your partner, I want you to say these 6 words. It's my fault. I'll fix it. If you want to encourage better communication with your kids, it's simple. Start texting them more often. But when we make a spur-of-the-moment decision to react, our gut usually pushes us to help others.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Have you heard about Canterfield of Ocala, the new class-assisted living? Monday, January 2nd at 10:05, Dr. James McCullough, Executive Director of Canterfield of Ocala, will be our guest. Dr. McCullough will be telling us about the different levels of care available and the neighborhood concept, so be sure to tune in Monday, January 2nd at 10:05 for our interview with Dr. James McCullough. It's news you can use now and in the future right here on The Source, WOCA.
All right, 18 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You know what I wanted to share with you? In Ocala, we have a restaurant downtown that has a rooftop area where you can eat, and you probably know of the restaurant. And it is in the news. Well, not that particular restaurant, but I mean the idea of a rooftop restaurant is in the news this morning because rooftop restaurants are apparently getting pretty popular. And so there was one on my list of places that I wanted to go to, and it is in Daytona, and it's I think it's called Crab Shack Joe's or something like that, right on the Daytona Beach Pier. On the top of, there's a restaurant right there on the pier. I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. And there's a rooftop place where you can eat on top of the roof and look at the sky and the water and everything like that. So it's kind of cool. So I want to, and it's a popular thing in Chicago and New York and in LA and all over the place. These rooftop restaurants are starting to open up and they're becoming very, very popular. So I have a few here in Florida that I wanted to share with you. So the one downtown, which is I think it's called Pie, right? Isn't it called Pie? In Daytona, it's one on the pier. I think it's called Eat at Joe's, right? Or Joe's Crab Shack or something like that. So there's one over there. And those are just 2 that I know of. I'm not telling you anything about the food. I'm just telling you about the ambiance, the idea that you're sitting on a rooftop having lunch or dinner or just drinks. So here are a few of the best rooftop dining experiences in the state of Florida. The first one is in St. Petersburg Beach. It's called Spinner's Rooftop Revolving Bistro, and it revolves. You're up. I don't know how many stories you're up. It looks like there it is, the 12th floor. It's in the Grand Plaza Hotel in St. Petersburg Beach, and as you eat, the view slowly changes because the restaurant revolves. Man, that's not too bad, huh? I don't know if that's a rooftop. It looks like it's more like the observation deck of the building, more than sitting on the roof, but maybe it is. It says it's considered a rooftop. So Spinner's Rooftop Revolving Bistro in St. Petersburg Beach is one place to go have lunch or dinner or drinks and sitting on the rooftop. And since you're at the beach, you are... you have the opportunity to look not only at the skyline of the city, which is St. Petersburg, but also at the water, right, as perhaps you want to go out for sunset or whatever. In St. Augustine, there's a rooftop restaurant at the San Sebastian Winery in St. Augustine. This is probably just a couple stories high. It doesn't look like it's very high. The cellar upstairs wine and jazz blues bar sits on top of the winery. They serve a light menu to accompany all of the favorite wines, the San Sebastian wines. They've got some music up there, which probably most of them do. But there's another one. A third one here in Florida is in Key West. It's the Rooftop Cafe. It is not a tall building. In fact, there's quite a few balcony cafes in Key West. Where you're pretty much on the second floor level. It's not exactly the same thing I was talking about, but it is listed as one of the best rooftop restaurants in the state. In Jacksonville, there's one called the Black Sheep Restaurant. The Black Sheep is a very popular upscale southern eatery in Jacksonville's historic Five Points neighborhood. The rooftop lounge offers views of the St. Johns River and the downtown area. And as I'm looking at it, it reminds me of the Contemporary Resort in Orlando, in the Disney area, I should say. The Contemporary Resort has, they've got an outdoor balcony, so you're not really on the rooftop, but you're up a few stories when you're there. In Orlando, they also have Hanson's Shoe Repair, and it is a restaurant, although it's more of a bar, and you might think it's a shoe repair shop. That's because it used to be. And it looks like one of those old speakeasies that you may have seen in movies. It's in one of the oldest buildings in Orlando. And so you would sit on top of the roof there. It's not as tall as the surrounding buildings that have been built since this building was built, but it is a rooftop and recommended. The next one I have is in Tampa. It's the Fly Bar and Restaurant, and it looks like you're about maybe 10 or 12 stories up. You can have a full meal there. It's not just a bar. The next place is Bud and Alley's Seaside. That's in Seaside, Florida. Okay, I don't know the city Seaside, but it looks like a really popular place. Lots of people in this one. In St. Petersburg Beach, they have the Castile Restaurant, which has a rooftop restaurant and bar. Once again, you're at the water, so it's a great place for you to take in the sunset or just to look at the water. The Intracoastal Waterway is also there. The downtown St. Petersburg skyline is viewable. It's on top of the Hotel Zamora. The Hotel Zamora. And the last one I have is the Buddha Sky Bar. The Buddha Sky Bar in Delray Beach is listed as one of the best rooftop restaurants in the state. You might have some of your own. I'm going to take some phone calls right now. Enjoy spectacular views of downtown Delray Beach in the swanky and stylish atmosphere of the only rooftop dining venue in Delray Beach. And this one doesn't have that great of a view. This is not even as tall as the power line outside. So as far as being a rooftop, it must be like a one-story building. So those are the ones that are recommended from onlyinyourstate.com, which is where they have the listings for that kind of thing. Let me go to the phone. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. When you're traveling by train out west of Chicago, All of the cars are the two-level cars, and the dining car and the lounge car have seating up top. And, that's quite an experience, having your lunch or dinner and looking out the top of the train.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, that's on my bucket list, Jim. I definitely want to do the train ride, and I think my train ride will be this year. I really think so. I'm going to, but it won't be west of Chicago, though. So I know the trains on the East Coast are all, they don't go the two-story.
Well, they're all single level. In your case, I would advise booking the sleeper because you're a tall guy and you're hitting your head on the overhead rack in the regular coach cars.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's what I figured I would do, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a bucket list item for me, and by hopefully this date of next year, I'll be saying, gosh, that was a highlight of my year. So, yeah, and that would be, I guess it would be qualified as a rooftop restaurant if you're on the second story of a train. Those trains are pretty tall.
Yeah. Well, about the size of a two-story house.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jim. Appreciate the call.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year. It's just hard to imagine that a train is as tall as a two-story building. And so there you go. All right. I don't think we are going to do Fun with Joe today live. I think it's going to be a best of. I got a text from Dan that he won't be here till afternoon, and I believe Tish is not here, so it's really just me. And so I will hold on to. We've got a great prize. Tish brought in a great prize yesterday for Fun with Joe. Chances are we'll do it on Monday when Robin is back and Joe is back, and we can get back in the saddle and do everything the normal way. But the prize is pretty good, and if you, let me tell you what the prize. We're not giving it away today, but it is for the Cirque Italia. The Cirque Italia is coming back to town. You might have seen them. I know they've been here at least twice. It is described as a traveling water circus, and this year it'll be at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion on January 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And those who have gone really have bragged about this. The performance runs 2 hours. There's a 25-minute intermission in there. And let's see if I have any ticket prices here or other information. Well, the website is probably where you would get your best information. It's cirqueitalia.com. That's CirqueItalia, cirqueitalia.com. And they do have a phone number. It's 941-704-8572, and it does say you can call that number to purchase tickets. I don't know the price of the tickets, but anyway, so if you want to buy some, there's your information to buy it. If you want to win them, I'm sure that we're giving away tickets to this during Fun with Joe, but it won't be today because it looks like today is going to be a rebroadcast of a previously Fun with Joe moment. All right, that means that I'm ready to wrap it up and say goodbye and say Happy New Year, because I won't be back after the bottom of the hour. You'll hear my voice, but I won't be here live. So Happy New Year. I mentioned this yesterday. Thank you for the support you have shown us. We don't have a radio show without listeners. I recorded a thank you to all of you. And I wanted to say something live about your loyalty and your trust in us. It is the one thing that I have learned in this business is that you cannot, everything. I've never tried to fool anybody, and it's so hard sometimes when somebody comes at you, a boss, and says, hey, we just sold this product or this service, and we want you to interview this person, and please don't question it. Just let it go. And you have to say to yourself, but the listeners, I don't want them to think I absolutely support this thing. And the one beautiful thing about working with the Martone family is they've never done that. They go everything with a fine-tooth comb, just like Robin and I have done all these years. And so I just love the integrity of the station. It's probably the main reason why I have stayed here, because I know the pressure that other radio hosts get from their bosses to put anything and everything on. And so hopefully that integrity has earned your trust, But it is your trust that we value so much, and I wanted to thank you for trusting us and giving us the chance to share with you the things we have. And when we have somebody on who has something questionable, and it does happen, you can hear it. You can hear us questioning it, and I'm sure you do too. All right, we'll be right back. Happy New Year, everybody. What's coming up next is recordings. We'll be back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Condemnation, but no retaliation from Russia against the U.S. for sanctions against it over alleged hacking interference with the U.S. presidential election.
This is just an executive order by President Obama. Mr. Trump, as soon as he walks in the door on January 20th, he could roll it back, he could soften it, he could change it any way he wants. And that apparently is what the Russians are hoping for, at least.
Fox's Caroline Shively, an officer in Texas, hit by another cop.
The officer shot is out of surgery and expected to recover. The police department in Weatherford, Texas, near Fort Worth, says this was friendly fire, but only happened because Officer Chris Bumpus and his backup were trying to take down a wanted man outside a bar.
Fox Radio's Evan Brown, the suspect, also hit. And a victory for UberX and Lyft ride booking services starting Sunday, legal at the world's busiest airport in Atlanta. Fox News. We report, you decide.
It's your last chance for the best deals of the season during the final days of the Ford year-end event. Just announced, get $1,500 cash, which includes $500 final days cash, plus $1,000 Ford Smart bonus cash on select models. Or check out special year-end lease deals across the entire lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, including Ford Fusion, Explorer, and the Built Ford Tough F-150. These are the best deals of the season for a new Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry, it's the final days of the Ford year-end event. Your last chance to get $1,500 cash, which includes $500 final days cash, plus $1,000 Ford Smart bonus cash on select models. Ends January 3rd. Supply of vehicles with Ford Smart bonus is limited. Not available on Focus RS, Shelby GT 350, Ford GT, F-150 Raptor, F-650, or 750. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com to find specially tagged vehicles and for qualifications and complete details. For all offers, taking retail delivery from dealer stock by 1/3/2017. Sales claim based on 2015 calendar year sales.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
Hey, this is Dan. Let me ask you a few questions. Does your boat look better with the cover on? Has your car's interior seen its better days? Stop using a towel to cover up those rips in a golf cart. Isn't it about time you had it restored to better than new with a custom upholstery from Captain T? Captain T's Upholstery has been right here in Ocala for nearly 20 years, so they know how to make your ride one of a kind. Whether you want to take that classic ride back to a factory look or put your favorite sports team front and center, Captain T's Upholstery is who to call. 352-369-1810. That's 352-369-1810. Or stop by their location, 5030 South Pine Avenue in Ocala, just past the drive-in. And of course, don't forget to visit them on the web, CaptainTUpholstery.com.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
Wow, man, you have a computer?
Yes, and I'm looking at villages1.com. They have a ton of information for the Villages resident.
Wow, they have information by the ton? I only need a couple ounces, man.
Movies, schedule, doctors, local attractions, even a section called Who You Gonna Call for plumbers and painters and stuff like that. These guys own cyberspace.
Wow, man, they own it? What's cyberspace?
That's where they packaged 50,000 pages of information for the Village residents.
Wow, they package it where?
Villages1.com.
Where, man?
Villages1.com.
Here are today's headlines from the source WOCA. A driver managed to escape injuries after a Sunrail train plowed into a vehicle along the tracks near South Orange Avenue in Orlando yesterday. Video shows a car parked parallel to the tracks near West Oak Ridge Road. Sunrail sent out several tweets stating one train was canceled and another was delayed because of the crash. All trains were running on time as of 7:41 last night. Sunrail tweeted, Florida Highway Patrol says the driver of the car, 73-year-old Jean Marcel of Orlando, was trying to turn around on the tracks and got stuck. A Good Samaritan, 30-year-old Nelson Perez, heard the train coming and helped Marcel out of the car before it was hit by the train. No one was hurt in the crash. A U.S. Army veteran who lives in Lake County said he will be patrolling his neighborhood at night after someone shot several of his animals. Joshua Curtis lives on 5 acres of land along Lake Avenue in Fruitland Park with goats, pigs, and chickens. He said his daughter woke him up at about 4 a.m. 2 weeks ago after hearing some sort of a commotion. Curtis said he saw 2 teenagers in the pen with his baby goats. He said the teenagers threatened him before running off when they saw Curtis had a gun. When he got closer to his animals, Curtis realized the alleged trespassers shot and killed 2 baby goats and also shot his dog and a pig. Curtis said 12 of his goats have been shot and killed within the last year. He plans on adding about 20 cameras and large floodlights to his property. He's also offering a $1,000 reward for anyone with information in the incidents. Residents hit by Hurricane Matthew in northeast Florida are being warned about scam phone calls claiming to be county damage assessors. St. Johns County says residents in the hard-hit area have been receiving automated messages saying that county staff will be conducting damage assessments on their property. The county says it does not make direct phone calls to homeowners regarding damage assessment from Matthew and that the calls are from scam artists. Officials are asking anyone who receives assessment calls to check with St. Johns County Building Services Department to see if they are legitimate. 2016 has been the deadliest year since 2011 for law enforcement officers nationwide, according to preliminary data by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. The 135 officer fatalities in 2016 are a 10% increase over the 123 who died in the line of duty last year and is the highest total since 2011, when 177 officers made the ultimate sacrifice. Of those 135 officer fatalities, 7 were Florida officers, including 1 canine officer. Butch Arenal, the president of the Florida Police Chiefs Association, said every single time an officer falls, our communities lose so much more than a public servant. We lose a friend, a family member, a loved one, but most of all, we lose heroes who were willing to sacrifice everything to keep us safe, unquote. The report stated that ambush-style killings of law enforcement officers were on the rise this year. According to the NLEOMF, firearms-related incidents were the number 1 cause of death in 2016, with 64 officers shot and killed across the country. This is a 56% increase over the 41 officers killed by gunfire in 2015. Florida's chief financial officer and state fire marshal Jeff Atwater is urging Floridians to celebrate safely during the upcoming New Year's Eve celebration. The central advice is to be smart and recognize that fireworks can cause serious injuries when handled improperly or when used while under the influence of alcohol. Nearly 15% of structure fires in Florida during 2015 were caused by fireworks or other explosives, and firefighters across Florida responded to 141 fireworks-related incidents, according to state figures. And those are the headlines from the source WOCA for this last Friday of 2016.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Friday, it'll be windy, cooler, and less humid with clouds giving way to some sunshine. The high 58 to 62. And Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Lows in the mid to upper 30s inland, 44 along the coast. More sun than clouds for Saturday and becoming warmer. High 69 to 73. For Sunday, New Year's Day, partly sunny. High 77 to 81. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hospice of Marion County has an urgent need for volunteers to share a conversation with someone, run errands, hold someone's hand. All you need is a willingness to help others. Our volunteers believe the blessings they receive far exceed the services they offer. Will you consider serving, caring, and making a difference? Call today, 873-7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
Today in Florida Ag News, I'm a Southeast AgNet. When it comes to propane usage on the farm, Cinch Munson, Director of Agriculture Business Development for the Propane Education and Research Council, says Florida is a unique market.
In Florida, they have their own unique challenges. It's, they've got the risk of hurricanes, so they need a energy source that's extremely reliable. They can't always rely on the grid, if you will, because if that goes down, they've got issues with being able to use their equipment. So they like propane equipment. Environment's important there. As it it is everywhere. So that's a market where we're seeing some significant growth in the adoption of propane-powered irrigation engines because it's so important that they're able to pump the water. And in their case, it's pumping water on the field, and it's also pumping water off the field in many cases. And it has to work when it has to work. And that's one thing propane brings to the table. It's reliable and always available.
And Munson has a couple of examples of ag industry in Florida using propane.
U.S. Sugar and Tamiami Citrus have started to adopt propane-powered irrigation engines. They've been very pleased with what they're seeing. And they were generous enough to talk to us about that, kind of give us a testimonial and case study as to what they're seeing. They're having such success. They want to share what they're getting. And of course, we as the propane industry want to share their success as well and show others the advantages that they can gain by making the switch to propane-powered equipment.
Learn more about making a switch to propane at propane.com/agriculture.
I've been looking all over the world.
Hey y'all, I'm Josh Turner. Whether you're a hometown girl or a backwoods boy, come to Nashville for the 2017 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. You'll see the biggest cattle industry trade show with over 6 acres of displays, plus an exclusive concert with Cowboys Night at the Opry. Mosey on down to Music City, February 1st through the 3rd. Find out more at beefusa.org.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
With Joe.
Okay.
Joe Martone is in the studio.
I'm here.
Joe likes cold beets.
I love cold beets.
All right.
I love cold beets. They're good for you. Good for your veins.
So today the game is all. I'm going to give you the punchline to a joke, and you.
Watsonville.
And you have to tell me which group we're offending. Okay?
Oh heck, that's an easy one. I'm not prejudiced. I offend them all.
So the game is. I will give you the answer to a joke. How many blank does it take to put in a light bulb? That's the joke.
Yeah, morons.
Every single time, yes. How many blank?
How many?
And you have
5.
to. And you have to tell. I'm going to tell you the punchline, and you just have to tell me who we're offending in the joke.
Yeah, I said the morons. And then the real morons is the light go out.
And remember, if Joe and Robin can't answer the question, you can help them out as a lifeline. It doesn't win you anything. It's just fun, and you can also.
Left field.
Yes,
all right, I heard
there's
that.
also the left field opportunity today.
That's true. I tell you what worries me is when the moron says, "Well, where did the light go when it went out?" I don't know. I don't know. Hey, I don't know about those things. Fella, it really gets me nervous. When I get nervous, I don't know what to do. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to be national, Joe.
I don't know. That was supposed to be something else.
You need to be rational.
I'm irrational. But there's a salve for that, yes. I know. The Mousetrap is at the Ocala Civic Theater here in town. The Mousetrap is a murder mystery. The Mousetrap right there at the Ocala Civic Theater at 4337 East Silver Springs Boulevard. Remember, it's a mystery. It's a murder. So you got to stay through the whole thing. There we go. If you don't win the 2 tickets we're giving away, give them a call at 236-2274. That's 236-2274. Robin went with her mom and got 4 thumbs up by here, so that's good.
Yes, fabulous show. Excellent.
Say that again.
Mystery.
Fabulous, yes.
And we were told at the end we cannot divulge the secret or else something would happen to
That's
the
right.
audience,
You get a rash in your big toe. That's what I heard. And Bob Wise, Kimberly Gardens, your gardening expert since 1952. Yes, they know a lot about dirt. Yes, they know a lot about what goes in the dirt. Yes, they know how to make it grow. Yes, they can help you for the answers that you don't have. They have the answers. There you go. It's a $20 gift card. They've been there since 1952, and they will give you 10% off if you are a veteran with proper identification. there. And from King Cookie right here in the Paddock Mall, we're giving a $30 gift card to King Cookie. That entitles you to a cookie about the size of a medium pizza. That's King Cookie right here in the Paddock Mall. Oh, do they fill in that sweet tooth so well. Say hi, John. I want it from WOCA. Here you go. I want it by Tuesday. Why? Because Thursday is Thanksgiving. Oh, okay.
And visit the WOCA booth tomorrow at Light Up Ocala and put your name in for the TV drawing.
Yes, we're going to be there. Light Up tomorrow. Light Up Ocala. Stop it.
All right, right now, if you want to play the game, you need to call and get your name into the running. Then the number to call is 622-9622. The game today, I will say, how many blanks does it take to screw in a light bulb?
That's right.
And Robin and Joe will have to tell me what goes in the blank after I tell them the punchline to the joke.
That's
fun.
right.
All right, so it is equal opportunity offender today.
There you got it.
I like it.
If you want to play, the number is 622-9622. We will be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Friday, it'll be windy, cooler, and less humid with clouds giving way to some sunshine. The high 58 to 62. And Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Lows in the mid to upper 30s inland, 44 along the coast. More sun than clouds for Saturday and becoming warmer. High 69 to 73. For Sunday, New Year's Day, partly sunny. High 77 to 81. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Gene and Debbie would like to thank you for another successful year of business. We want to wish everybody a safe, healthy, and prosperous 2017. We are ready to be of service with our pasture mowing. 352-629-2440. Locally owned and operated. Experienced and reliable. Commercial and residential. Licensed and insured. Powell Gene, Gene at yahoo.com. 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. 352-629-2440. Proud United States veteran.
On this episode